Hi guys, welcome to day 2 of dealing with piecewise functions. So today we're going to talk about writing and graphing analytical equations for piecewise functions. Analytic is a fancy way of just saying the equation. That comes up in calculus, so that's why I use it sometimes with your class also. All right, so here's the first one that we're going to do. So this is made up of 2 lines. So here's the easiest way I've come up with for teaching this. So x plus 5 has an endpoint at -2. So let's plug in -2 into that top equation. So if you plug in -2, you get 3. But notice the inequality. So what kind of dot do we have there? Because it's strictly less than, it's going to be an open circle. So I'm going to go to -2, 3, and draw. This pen is off a little bit and it's annoying. I don't know how to sync it. So I have my really awkward looking open circle. And because it's a less than, we're going to be going that way, right? This is to the left. And that's a line. What's the slope of the line? 1, right? So from here, I'm going to attempt to plot some points with a slope of 1. See, now it looks nice. So that's that piece, right? So I have my endpoint at -2, 3, and a slope of 1, and it's smaller than -2. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but with the with the 4. So -2. If you plug in -2 into -4, it's just, right? It's a constant. This is an equal to, so it's a closed circle. And this is a greater than, so we're going to the right. So I'm going to go to -2, -4, and I'm going to draw my closed circle. Now, what does the graph of just a plain -4 look like? It's a horizontal line. And that's it. That is our piecewise function. Let's try another one. All right, so why don't you start the way I did? So for the top piece, I'm going to plug in 1. So what do you get when you plug in 1? If I plug in 1, I get 2 plus 1 is 3. Now, is that an open or closed circle? It's an open circle, and then left or right? It's a less than is left. So I'm going to go to 1, 3, and I'm going to draw myself an open circle. I'm going to go left. Now, what's the slope of the line? The slope of the line is 2. So I'm going to make a positive slope. Now, this is where kids mess up. They're always like, oh, 2, up and left, up and left. No, it's a positive slope. Positive slope goes down and left. After you draw it, check. Is my slope actually correct? That is a positive slope. A lot of kids last year, I remember did this. That is a negative slope. So really, 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 really pay attention to that. Now I'm going to get my bottom piece, plug in 1. You get 1. It's a closed circle, and we are going to the right. So 1, 1. There's my closed circle. Now this one has a -2 slope. So which way am I going? I don't want to go up and I don't want to go this way, right? Up and right, that's a positive slope, so it needs to come down this way. So my slope is -2. Doot, doot, doot. So what does that look really close to? An absolute value. That's because an absolute value is actually just a fancy piecewise function. Well, not even that fancy. All right. This one's a little harder because now we don't just have lines. Now I have a parabola. And this is why I moved this unit, because it irritated me when I was trying to teach this last year that they only knew how to graph lines. All right, so pause the video. See if you can get what this thing looks like. So we have 0, -4, open circle, and less than. It's usually in the order. Top is left, bottom is right, but be really, really careful. That's not always the case. Now we're going left, so it's a half a parabola, right? 0, 4 is the vertex, and that's really important. We're going to see ones where that's not the case. Think about how we graph our parabolas, right? Over 1, up 1, back to my vertex, over 2 up 4, back to my vertex, over 3 up 9. So there's my half a parabola. And then for the bottom, I plug in 0, 1, closed circle, I'm going to the right. And then this is a line, so my slope is 2, up 2 over 1. This thing makes me sad. It looks so much nicer on the smartboard, but it is what it is. We are distance learning. Oh well. Alright, so keep in mind, if you forgot how to graph parabolas and you want me to send you a video, I'm not going to make you one, but I will find you a parabola video for review. So email me and I will send you something if you're like, I don't know how to graph a parabola. It fell out of my brain. Alright. Here's a good one. This is more like a medium. Alright, so see what you can figure out. So -2 is my x value. Constant number. So this is going to be just a horizontal line. Now this is a closed circle. Alright, we have our equal to. So -2, 4. Closed circle. It's a constant, so we have just a horizontal line. Now, for the next one, we're going to cheat. Some teachers make you actually graph the line appropriately. I don't do that. I'm lazy. So we're going to do exactly what I just did, but with 2 numbers this time. So we have -2. What do you get when you plug in -2? -4 minus 1 is -5. That is a open circle. Then we're going to plug in 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 1 is 7. Closed circle. So I'm going to plot those 2 points. -2, -5 has an open circle. And 4, 7 has a closed circle. Now, what kind of graph is this? It is a line. So a line, I'm not even going to plot the points. I'm just going to connect the dots in my terrible graph. Use a ruler if you have one. Don't be like me. All right, last one. Let's make this one red. So I'm going to plug in 4. Ugh. Now I have to plug into a parabola. So let's see. 16 minus 24 plus 9. That's -8 plus 9 is 1. And it is a open circle. So 4, 1, open circle. Now, here's the problem. That's a parabola. Is 4, 1 the vertex of the parabola? It is not. So, this is why I really like completing the square. And the parabolas that are in these are not going to be crazy complicated. So, this is actually a perfect square trinomial. If you factor this, it's x minus 3, x minus 3. So, x minus 3 quantity squared. So, the vertex is actually 3, 0. So now what I typically do here is I'm going to use a pencil. I'm going to plot the vertex. The vertex is not in the graph though. The vertex is here, but that's in the blue section. So we're going to have to erase it. But I use that because I want the vertex to plot the rest of it. So I notice I have my over 1 up 1. That 4, 1 is over 1 up 1. Back to my vertex. I'm going to go over 2 up 4. And plot my point. Back to my vertex, over 3 and up 9. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to, well, you can actually draw it in if you want. So there's my parabola, but we have to erase. We cannot have the vertex in here because it's not part of the graph. So I'm going to erase that little section. I'm going to fix that. That's so ugly. Irritating to me. There, it's a little better. So it kind of looks like a line, but it is just a portion of a parabola. And that is our piecewise function. So a little more difficult. All right, last one. This is our hard one. These probably won't get much harder than this. So if you can do this problem, then you are in really, really, really good shape. Pause the video. See if you can do this on your own. All right, so -2, if I plug in -2, now what is this a graph of? This is a parabola. So if I plug in -2, I get 1 squared, -1 plus 1 is 0. It is an open circle, and we are going left. So -2, 0. Now, let's think about this. What is the vertex of this graph? If it's a parabola, the vertex is -3. Change the sign of the inside. 1. Now, is that in the region? It is. So that's a nice. The vertex is right here. It's in the region. So this, and what else do we notice about this parabola? It's got that negative in front. So it's an upside down parabola. So from here, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1. But now we're only going to go to the left. Over 2, down 4. Over 3, down 9. So this piece is kind of, it's like a little more than half the parabola, right? So we've got this. Make that so ugly. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like horrified by this. All right. So it's kind of like half the parabola and then a little extra. Okay. The second piece, that's the easy piece. So -2, plug in -2, and I get -7. Close circle. Plug in 6. And I get 3 minus 6 is -3. Another closed circle. So -2, 7. So we're up here. And 6, -3. We're down here. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Really? That's a slope of a half? No. What did I do? Oh, it's a -7. I didn't see the negative. Like, that doesn't work. That's wrong. Let's fix that. All right, -2, -7. Okay, that makes more sense. Because the slope is a half. So I was like, that's too steep. There's our graph. Okay, there's my middle graph. It's a line, so we can just connect the dots. Now, last one. I'll make this one green. So if I plug in 6, what do you get? Square root of 0 plus 2 is 2. So 6, 2. Open circle. Now, what does this graph look like? That's a sideways parabola. It's a square root. So what's the vertex of the square root? So this is the vertex, which is nice. So I gave you kind of an easy one. So over 1, up 1. Over 4, up 2. And then we're kind of off the graph. And that is our piecewise function. So I would put something like this on a test or a quiz. This one I don't think it's more challenging than the last few, but it's something that I think you should all be able to do. It's not overly hard. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to write the equation. So we're going backwards now. So I'm going to start by writing my f of x equals. So now how many pieces are there? We have 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. So make this nice and big. I always start with the ends, with the inequality. So I'm going to start with my first inequality. So right here, that's my corner, right? So I'm going to start there. So to the left of that, this is what number? This is 4. So x is less than or x is greater than? X is less than -4. Now, is it equal to? It is not. That is an open circle. Notice both that 4 and then down here, this one, both of those are open. So we actually don't have any equal to's. So for the next piece, I'm going to go -4 to 2. -4 less than x less than 2. And then lastly, again, it's an open circle. This is kind of a weird, I don't know who made this up, but there's no equal to, it's not filled in, so x is greater than 2. So I always start with those. because I feel like those are the important part. That's the most important part for the inequalities. So now I'm going to write my equation. So what is the equation of a horizontal line? We just talked about this. Horizontal line is just a plain number. What is the y value? 2. Then I usually put a little comma there. All right, the next one. What is that? What is the second piece a graph of? That is a line. So there's 2 ways to write a line. Y equals mx plus b. So we can do that. Or y minus y0, m times x minus x0. But then because we have a piecewise function, how I write it is this. So either if we have our y-intercept, this is if we have our y-intercept. And then the second one is if we don't have our y-intercept. Oh my goodness. If we have a point and no y-intercept. So these are the 2 ways I do it. So what we have our y-intercept, it's -2. So -2 x, and then what's the slope? Well, the slope is up and over. It's a -1. So -x minus 2. All right, last one. So now this one, do we have our y-intercept? We don't. So that means I'm going to use that bottom equation. Now this one you actually could figure out the y-intercept if you wanted. The slope is 1. And basically you can pick any point on the line. So I'm going to pick this point right here. So that point is 3, -3. So I'm going to be y equals my slope 1. It's just hard to read, isn't it? I'm sorry, guys. X minus 3 minus 3. So 1, x minus 3 minus 3. So that's my slope, my line. The other way you could do that one is if you just continue your slope down. The y-intercept is -6, so you could do x minus 6 if you wanted, if you recognize that. I like getting practice in with that just because we're going to have some that are more gross and we want to be able to write it like that. And that's it. All right, pause the video. I want you to try this one on your own. So we've got f of x. We only have 2 pieces this time. So let's see, what is this point? That is a 2. So the left one, x is less than 2. And then this one is positive 2. Now, do we get an equal sign anywhere? We do. Remember where your closed circle is. So this spot, the left one, has our closed circle. All right, that is an equation of a line. So we're going to do our mx plus b or our mx minus x0 plus y0. So either one of those. I have my y-intercept, it's -1, and my slope is -2. So it's -2x minus 1. Put either a comma or an if. Sometimes people put if. All right, and the second piece, that is also a line. This has a slope of -1. And we can do our y-intercept or our point slope. I'm going to do point slope. I'm going to pick this point. That point is 6, -2, just for practice. So my slope, -1, x minus 6 minus 2. And that is the equation. Pretty sure there's one more. I think this is the last one. Pause the video, try it on your own. All right, f of x equals, I'm going to write it like this down here because I don't have a lot of space. So let's see where this thing changes. So we've got the 1 and we've got the 2. Okay. So I've got x is less than 1. I've got x is between 1 and 2. and I've got x is greater than 2. Now where do our equal signs go? Well, we have our equal sign, a closed circle here, which is on this left piece. So that's my top. And then my other equal sign is my closed circle here, which is part of the middle graph. So the 2 is in the middle. All right, now what is this graph here? That is a parabola. Notice the vertex, it goes over one, up one on both sides. That's important because I could give you 2x squared. So over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just a regular x squared, which is why it's really good to know that stuff, to know like that shifting rule. And then the middle piece is just a horizontal line at 3. And then finally we have a line. All right, I'll let us do y equals mx plus b for this one. So our slope is 1, right? So if I go down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1. So that's just the line. Your y-intercept is 0. So that's just the line y equals x. And that's it. All right, homework. Try it. Most of them are actually lines. We're gonna spend a couple days on this because this is more challenging. I think we'll spend probably 2 more days on this. So get practicing. Email me if you have questions. Be good. Stay safe. Stay sane and healthy. Bye.